Ball knocked loose. White dive on it.
This is twice now the Celtics have been first to the floor. They try to
Save with Horford. Unbelievable.
Boston first to the floor. So good.
Brown fakes, fires up the three. Bang! Tatum dives on the floor. Everybody dives. Jaylen Brown with the flush. Blocked by Porzingis. He's doing it all. Tatum spinning, driving, layup. Washington drives. Blocked by White. Oh, what a block from Derek White.
Wayne Spooney, First of the Floor podcast. I am joined by Jake Eisenberg. And Jake, can I just say, Z Gamer in the chat, Z Gamer, longtime fan. He's always in the chat. We very much appreciate him.
Kills us.
Distributing, late to the floor. He's giving us crap. He always gives us crap about being late. Jake, speeds his way back so he can get to the show for 9 o'clock. So,
yeah,
we got to make sacrifices. Jake,
I finished work 29 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So, this is not channel, I don't know. I was trying to think of US channel that wasn't Fox News and CNN. I don't know any of them. This is not a broadcast network. This is First Floor, baby.
Yeah, and look, if you want to get a bunch of people signed up to the Patreon so we can do this as our full-time jobs, I promise you we will all be on time every time, and we'll do it a lot more often. But for now, we have life in the way, unfortunately. So, Jake, the Celtics did something they don't do all that often, and that is lose a basketball game. 112-102, coming off, I think, a very impressive win against the Charlotte Hornets. Where do you want to start with these two games?
Yeah, definitely came down off the high. I saw that the Hawks were favored by 2.5 points, and I was insulted, to be honest. I was like, Derek and Jaylen rested, coming in. Jaylen hasn't had a day off in what feels like months. And it looked like he had months of days off in a row last night. And kind of same with Derek. That was really the takeaway. It's your two guys that have been, even though Derek efficiency-wise hasn't been there, he's still been really impactful. Jaylen had a nice little stat pad late in the game here to bring the totals up to 29. But I thought all the role guys played well, and Jaylen in particular, with Derek as well, let you down. And that was the biggest issue.
Yeah, agreed. I especially thought Jaylen uncharacteristically missed a lot of shots at the rim. So Atlanta was just switching everything. So or actually they were having their guys fight over the top of screens, and then if they didn't get there, switching late. And I felt like that really kept our offense from getting into the drive and kick. Oh, stuff's happening. There's a flare screen. Now it's a pin down into a handoff. We didn't get into a ton of that last night, and credit to Atlanta's personnel. Really, they just have so many guys that they can throw at Jaylen. And when you don't have Tatum out there as well as a massive ball handling wing, it's tough. I think Dyson Daniels defends JB better than anybody in the league, honestly. So we had tons of shots at the rim, 37% of our shots at the rim, which is way higher than our average, and shot 48% at the rim last night, which is abominable, 4th percentile in rim accuracy. And we don't get to the rim a ton, but we're usually quite efficient when we get there. In a large part, it's because Jaylen's getting there and he's an awesome rim finisher. And I just felt like he smoked some bunnies, and I don't know if that was the days off or, I thought it was a really good defensive performance by Atlanta, though. I really felt like we missed some shots we should have made, but they also played us really tough.
Yeah, I think as simple as Jaylen hasn't played many bad games, was maybe due for one. Atlanta was Celtics on a back-to-back. Granted, Jaylen and Derek were fresh. Yeah. And so you just beaten Atlanta kind of comfortably in the end. And says Z Gamer has actually pointed out in the Discord, the Celtics always lose to the Hawks.
Yeah.
I think they're now 5, they're almost, it's over a 15 game sample now. They're basically 500. And whether that's a lack of taking them seriously, you just beat them the other day. You're coming off the high of beating the Thunder, the Hawks had won 15 out of 14 out of 15. You beat the Hornets, who you like wanted to get revenge on. Maybe you looked past the Hawks a little bit if you're Jaylen and Derek, or the Hawks just played well. And I'm someone who doesn't take them seriously, so I can understand why the there we go. Celtics are 5-6 against the Hawks over the last 3 years. I remember the playoff series where it went to 6 when it shouldn't have against Trae Young. Obviously, he's not there anymore. They have been really good as of late. They shot the ball really well in this game. Like when they were, like if during the game, I was like, if they can just keep it tight, I kind of still like us to execute down the stretch and have a good chance. But the Hawks just kept hitting like some punish threes late in the game. Specifically, a Okongwu felt like he was cold, and then he hit 3 straight, and that felt like the game. Oh yeah, Dyson Daniels going 2 for 3 from 3.
Bullshit. Yeah.
That was especially cruel. It felt like, but yeah, I know Jaylen out of character. It's not something that I'm worried about. Like the bigger story is the fact that he was on the injury report for 2 games in a row with the Achilles tendonitis, and then was off the injury report completely coming into this one. I did have someone in my mentions be like, I'm officially worried about Jaylen's health. He looks slow. He looks handles gone. And then like 2 minutes later, he had that like 2 foot, like get to his like 2-hand slam. And I was like, did he look unhealthy on that one? It's one of those things where it's like, if he's playing badly, your brain starts to have confirmation bias, and you're like, maybe he isn't healthy. He missed some shots at the rim. He had the 6 turnovers, and that kind of set the tone for the game. He was sloppy with the ball. The Hawks were able to get offensive rebounds, and they just had control from the get-go. They felt good. They got confident, and they were hot from 3. Because if you told me before the game, no Cater, and you were going to get a 20.9 rebound game from Gaza on 8 for 9 shooting, I'd be like, hey, I feel pretty good about this one. Like, he was fucking awesome, and he like kept them in the game. And he did that again against the Hawks the other day as well. Like, he was actually pretty good in both of these Hawks matchups. Yeah, Derek and Jaylen, not good enough, because I liked what I saw from Walsh. Maybe the Amari Williams sighting. Kind of like what I saw.
Yeah, I saw this stat on Reddit on Dyson Daniels real quick. These are not the exact numbers, but it's pretty close. He had taken like 103 threes going into last night and had made 15 of them. He goes 2 for 3, which is just brutal. Dyson Daniels was awesome. I really thought he was absurdly disruptive. He's kind of gone, but I feel like last year everyone would recognize how amazing of a defensive player he was. And he's kind of gone under the radar a little bit this year, but he's just an incredible defensive player. So's Nah. And even like Mo Gay was switching and doing okay. Okongwu can switch. Jalen Johnson's a big body. Kuminga, Risa Shea. They just got a lot of guys that they can kind of guard Derek White with length, which, I think can bother him some, and just kind of can match up at least size wise with Jaylen Brown. And I just thought they did a really good job, like fighting over screens and switching when they needed to. Yeah, man, like Garza was fantastic. A lot of makes at the rim when he's out there on defense, though, man.
Yeah.
Like a lot of makes at the rim. Like the rim protection was jarringly different when Amari Williams was in the game. Like they challenged him a few times, and I thought he did an awesome job contesting guys when they got all the way to the rim. The problem was they had 5 out with Okongwu, and Amari was just like completely lost trying to defend that. So in the third quarter, I thought Joe made a nice little adjustment. He put Amari on Dyson Daniels when he was out there. And then Garza came back in, and he did the same with Garza. And I felt like that helped us kind of slow, because they had pushed it to like 20 in the third quarter. And then Joe makes that adjustment. We started kind of creeping back in, but then it was like McCollum hits some crazy ass shit. Dyson Daniels hit like some weird ass floater where he like flipped it from his nipples, that it's just like, what is going on here? So love the adjustments from Joe. I just like Amari's inability to guard in space makes this Atlanta team kind of a tough matchup for him. But I thought for the most part, defensively, he was solid. He's kind of a 0 right now offensively, right? Like, I don't know. I just felt like with the Hawks switching everything, we didn't get to see like, oh, there's a slight advantage created and he can hit you with a backdoor pass or something like that. But he's big. He can handle the ball a little bit. Like I thought overall, like very positives, Amari Williams sighting.
We had the one possession where they threw it to him on the block, and like when they were switching in I'm like looking at it now. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jaylen finds Amari like at the free throw line, a Congre's on him, and like kind of late shot clock, pump fake, gets like into him, tries to throw something up at the rim, left hand. It was gross.
Yeah.
And like I don't hold that against him like long term. Like he hasn't played with the big club in ages. He probably shouldn't have done that. Like there was still 9 seconds on the shot clock. You probably want to turn and try and get the offense moving again, as opposed to like isolating on a Conqueror from there. But yeah, I'm with you. And I think part of that's just reps, chemistry. No one really knows what he's capable of. He really doesn't know what he's capable of at this level either. I liked the rebounding. I liked the defense, and offensively, yeah. I think for him to get comfortable would just take more reps for us, because what makes him special as a player offensively is the passing and like the ability to kind of like go grab the rebound and make a play. And I don't think that he feels empowered to do that at this point, which is probably the right approach for him right now. Just like, try not to make too many mistakes, because Joe benched Baylor for taking that like crazy fading behind the backboard three. It's so funny with Baylor. Like it's like the Green Goblin Spider-Man 1 movie where the mask just calling him a coward, just like do something crazy, dude. Take a pull-up three,
Shoot it.
LaMelo, like behind the back pass. Like, I know you want it. And like Baylor has to try so hard just to be like, be in the right spots defensively, make the right play. It's like pump fake, try. It's very funny to see that just come out of nowhere and then him get sent back to the bench. But yeah, I still believe in the project of Amari Williams. And you think about the big man pipeline right now, there's still, I really wish Vooch was around right now. I know he has his detractors, but I just wish he was building chemistry right now. Because like a game like last night, let's say Nick Cater's in foul trouble, even if Gaza plays well, you just want another pitch to throw.
Yep.
And with what we're seeing from Tatum right now, like just having, because Amari kind of is, Vooch he has the high level passing ability, so it would be nice to see that kind of starting to get worked in. But other than that, like I thought, Walsh missed a couple shots, but I liked his activity. Walshy back-to-back games now, starting again. Like I love what George is doing. George, who the fuck is George?
George Mazzulla.
I just taught a kid swimming whose name is George. That's probably what just happened.
That's an awesome name for like a 5-year-old, George.
Yeah. Oh man, Joe Mazzulla.
There we go.
We had those comments from Walshy a couple of days ago, or a week ago. I think Noah asked him about like how do you manage the emotions of starting, playing a lot of minutes, playing well, and then kind of falling out of the rotation. He's like, I proved to myself, I've proved to the team, I proved to the league that I can be impactful. And then he gets his opportunity again. And Joe, curious Joe, I love it. And then he gets his chance again. Like, we start to see some guys get some rest, and it's not just, okay, Walsh, you get your chance to get back in the rotation. It's you're starting 2 games in a row. And I thought that while the shot hasn't fallen, the shot still looks good. A lot of them have gone in and out. The activity, the defense, the rebounding. I loved that play against Charlotte. Tatum found him on a cut, finish through contact and one. Was it the Hawks game as well where Tatum found him in the dunker spot kind of as well?
I believe so.
So I've liked the Walsh minutes.
Dude, I have loved the Walsh minutes. I feel like his activity defensively, the way he just gets up into ball handlers, it leads to some fouls and it leads to him getting burned like 3 times a game where it looks horrible. But I think on balance, he might be the best pure point of attack defender on the team. He's really good at slithering over screen, like over the pick and roll screen too, which when you're that big too for a point of attack defender, like he can just be really disruptive. Last 4 games, 26 minutes, 6-4-1, which is like whatever. He never touches the ball. Totally fine. 56.6 true shooting percentage. And that's really just because he had one game where the threes didn't fall. 80% from the line, 1.8 stocks, plus 7.3 on average in those 4 games. Like, I absolutely love when he pump fakes and goes to the rim. Like he explodes to the rim now, and he looks just really confident, taking like 2 dribbles, gathering and trying to finish. I wish he would do it more. But I just don't think the handle is quite there for him to do it often through traffic. But he's got a pretty soft touch around the rim for the most part. He's been drawing some fouls here and there, and like he is supremely athletic. So, and he's starting to turn into the type of defensive player that we hoped he could be when he was coming out of college. So it's just like, how do you like, what do you even do? Like all these guys are good. Like it's pretty crazy, man. Like, the nice thing is like in the playoffs, I don't know how much I trust Jordan Walsh in the playoffs, but I think there's going to be matchups or games where it's like, dude, we need you to go shut down Donovan Mitchell for like 5 minutes. We just need it. There's nobody like, Derek's
Maxey,
in foul trouble. Maxey,
just like he did earlier in the season.
Yeah, like there's going to be moments in the playoffs where Jordan Walsh is going to get an opportunity to rise to the occasion. And I'm like, I think he could do it. And like, he's pretty damn good at this point, which is just crazy because it's like we just got all like Minot's good too. And we couldn't even keep him on the team.
Yeah, Minot's, I don't really know what Brad was supposed to do. Like,
yeah, nothing.
Yeah, like to get under this, he was basically a luxury tax casualty.
Yeah.
And we've essentially just hit the replicate button as Brad had Minot walk through his 3D printer on the way out, and RHJ just popped out on the other side. So it's like, how upset can we really be about Minot when Ron Harper Jr., which the real reason we lost yesterday, Ron Harper Jr. injured his ankle.
Yep.
That honestly, I love him.
This is a really interesting. Sorry, go ahead.
I think he's still on the injury report for tomorrow, but I think we wouldn't see him yet anyway. Yes, tomorrow anyway.
Yeah, we don't want to risk anything long term with Ron Harper Jr. Clearly part of the core going forward. I mean, I'm like almost not joking. From Rui, who listens a lot. Rui, appreciate you. Always interacts with us on Twitter. Spoony Jake, do we have a deeper team this year versus the last 3 years? Playoff deep. We have 8 for the championship year, right? So I would say on paper, no. Because like KP, Drew, those guys were like playoff proven vets. But in actuality, like Jaylen was hurt. Drew just kind of looked a step slow. In KP, who knows what was going on. We really miss Al. We're really gonna miss Al in the playoffs, man. Like, I think that's a big thing. So I think this is a question we probably can't answer right now, but I certainly think there's a chance, like, oh, look how good Kata and Baylor were in the playoffs this year, that the answer at the end of the season might be yes. I don't know. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, I'd probably still no, almost maybe purely because you had Al, KP, and Luke.
Yeah, Luke too. Shit, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, we lost a lot of good players. That's
great, dude.
You were this
crazy. But at the same time, obviously, you can almost remove KP from the equation. So I'm just looking at the 23-24 team in the playoffs here, just to see if I'm forgetting everyone, because I think they essentially went 8 deep. Tatum, Jaylen, Derek, Drew, Horford as your 5. And then Pritchard, Hauser, Cornette as your 8, KP as your 9, Brissett as your 10, Tillman as your 11, Svi as your 12. Like Svi just didn't get the chance to play, but like if he had to play more, I bet you he would have been like he's totally fine, right? So I probably can't go that far, and especially when you start to calculate how fucking good 23 for Horford was and how fucking good Drew Holiday was, like the quality of the players. But at the same time, I probably feel better about this team if you have to play the 14th man, which is Ron Harper Jr. I feel better about this version of the team.
Vooch over KP.
Sorry?
Are you taking Vooch over KP? Like if
Depends
you're
on-
like,
oh.
what are you getting? Like it's before the playoffs start, and it's like we don't know what's up with KP's health. We know Vooch is going to be healthy.
Yeah, Vooch.
Who do you take?
Vooch.
Yeah.
Well, because we saw what we got, like mystery box KP last season. He basically, I'd rather as someone who is at least capable of reaching whatever their own ceiling is, as opposed to like just praying that a certain player reaches. Yeah, that's the thing. Which version of KP? So many versions. There's game one of the finals version. There's like whatever version we saw in the Knicks like series. There's just Al might be washed. He might be, but he would also get the Celtics boost once he would come back, and we only need him for like 10 minutes. Like Cater's proven to me that he can play 28 to 32 minutes. I feel good about that. Like Horford coming in and having to play like 14, 18 minutes, he'd still be good to go. Alas, we don't have that problem that question to answer, unfortunately. But yeah, we should probably move to PrizePicks
real quick,
and then we'll hit Tatum Player of the Week and some of the Charlotte game. But yeah, PrizePicks time, playoff push. It's happening. I mean, Celtics are comfortable in the playoffs, but these play-in teams are really fun to watch every single night. A lot of playoff type atmospheres, and the tournament hoops are here. UConn dagger deep inside the soul of Duke. The most college basketball I've watched was that 30 seconds, like 10 times so far. There's no better way to cash in on the high-flying hoops action than PrizePicks, where it always feels good to be right. And now they've got their new team picks markets where you can pick game winners, spreads, and totals on top of the player picks you already know. So cash in if you're right during all the clutch buckets, slam dunks, Cinderellas this spring with team picks on PrizePicks. Download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play $5 lineups. It's good to be right. Yeah, man. It's all happening. Playoffs. We got like less than 2 weeks, basically. 2 weeks basically till the season is over. 3 weeks until the playoffs start. It's
damn.
It's happening. It went from like Tatum coming back and feeling like we had a ton of time still to there's 7 games left in the season, and I wish we had more time because I want him to have more and more reps. Speaking of the man himself, Jayson Tatum, Player of the Week. I think if you told anybody, including Jayson Tatum, that he was going to win Player of the Week in the last week of March, that we'd all be pretty fucking happy. Like, insane.
Yep. And I'm pretty fucking happy. So 26, 10, and 7 rounding up.
Yeah.
Just ridiculous. It's hilarious seeing Jokic who's the player of the week in the West, 26, 17, and 14.
It's crazy.
It's just ridiculous. But yeah, and the Celtics 3-0 in the week that the games counted. This Hawks game obviously did not count. Look, this is a lot of it is powered by his ridiculous performance against the Hornets. But even still, he had, inefficient, but he had 26, 12, and 5, 19, 12, and 7 in the other 2 games. But, the cherry on top, the game that got him this award was the 32, 5, and 8, plus 15 against the Hornets, who are the darling of the NBA right now. And just in defensively, he has been awesome, like so much better than we could have hoped defensively. Especially, and I thought that Hornets game, he was especially incredible given the offensive load he was carrying. The rebounding, the passing, it's all there. The only thing that's missing right now really is the efficiency, and I'm very confident that's going to come. But man, this guy is really good at basketball.
Yeah, like my initial reaction when you talk about the defense is like, oh, it's still because he's making business decisions.
Yes.
And there's some defensive intensity stuff. But when I go back and watch afterwards, you just realize how effective he is as just like an IQ player. And by simply combining his IQ timing with his size and length, like he's just always in the gaps, making like a pass just a little bit more difficult. That just makes the defense that much easier for the rest of the possession. And then obviously you bring in the defensive rebounding, where the team has been first in the NBA since he's come back in defensive rebounding. That like, but seeing the Charlotte game and seeing him do what he did, like, and go true nuclear Jayson Tatum mode, like 5 for 10, and like not over the top with the threes either, like 10 3-pointers attempts with no Jaylen and no Derek isn't really crazy to me at all. Like, you kind of want him to be at that range, but like the way that he's creating separation, the way that he's attacking Kalkbrenner in drop, even going back to the Thunder game, that drive that he has on Chet, like that stuff's really impressive, and it goes all the way back to when he really, returned. Is that the driving has been pretty consistently there. I feel like it's getting better. But like, is there a Jayson Tatum got a little bit of a coming off an Achilles bump, a little for this Player of the Week award? Maybe. Do you get extra credit anyway for taking down the Thunder? Like, I think you deserve extra points. Like, if you're going to go undefeated, you're going to take down the Thunder, who had won 12 games in a row. You're going to take down Charlotte, who's been incredibly hot without Jaylen and without Derek. I don't think it's. And you beat Atlanta. Yeah, 14. Like, those are all, that's 3 high quality wins. There's maybe a sprinkle of participation trophy energy on this Player of the Week award, but not a lot. Not much. Just a very light seasoning. After you finish your dish, like, I would chuck a little more on there. But yeah, it's looking pretty fucking good. Like, I'm now, it's hard to not get too excited when you see a game like Charlotte. You're like, okay, here it is, wheels up. We're here now. It's probably going to come next game. That's just me preparing myself for it. But
yeah.
Like, it might just come back down, and we're going to get another 8 for 24 game. But like, if we can just keep trending in the right direction, get out of the first round, and we get whatever we get in the second round. If we keep trending at this pace, in this direction, by the time we get to what feels like an inevitable Knicks series, these dudes, I feel fucking good about our chances.
Yeah, man. And just like him being out there with Jaylen too, one of them has to be guarded by your second best wing defender. And that alone just is a superpower of this team. Like the Knicks, I don't know. People are really high on Bridges' defense. I feel like he has never bothered either of the Jays when he's guarded them. Like OG, kind of a different beast, but Tatum especially, I feel like, has had a lot of success when OG Anunoby's guarded him. So they're just force multipliers when they're out there together, because very few teams have 2 elite defensive wings and a big with some rim protection. The Knicks are pretty close, but yeah, man, like, to me, the passing is probably the biggest thing. Simmons talks about how he's like, seems like he's so much better of a passer. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I feel like he like passed his way to a championship, basically. Like that Maverick series, he was basically playing point guard and like reading everything before it happened and making incredible passes basically that whole series. So maybe it's a little better. I think maybe it's just like we haven't seen him play in 10 months. And it's like, oh yeah, this guy's a fucking incredible playmaker for a 6'9" wing, really for anybody, but especially especially in the package of a 6'9" wing. So, and I feel like he is really getting off the ball and getting in and out of our stuff, in a way that maybe he's had a tendency not to do in the past. And he's kind of settled into that kind of like get the switch ISO. He's really like coming off a handoff, setting screens, getting into the pick and roll quick, making quick decisions. And I think the Charlotte game was like really the highlight of him doing that type of stuff. And like if he keeps that up and he continues to improve physically, man,
It looks good.
Dangerous. Yeah, dude.
And I do think a lot of it is just pure conditioning.
Yep.
Like I think that's a big part of it, and it's just really hard to get there. But he should continue to tick up. I thought that there was a very clear improvement in his conditioning once he got that second day off. That's right. They lost to the Wolves. It was a kind of shitty game from everybody, and he had looked not very good in that Grizzlies game. But he'd been day on day off for like 4 or 5 games. Gets 2 days off before the Thunder game. Looks awesome in that game, the Hawks game, and the Charlotte game. Gets yesterday off, so he gets 2 days off again. And the minutes restriction moved up to 36. So I'm guessing not that it doesn't really seem like there's a quote unquote restriction. But the fact that they're comfortable playing him 35, 36 minutes now, with still 3 weeks to go until the playoffs, that's a lot of time to really, if you're already here, to really improve your conditioning and your fitness levels.
Oh, yeah.
So that might be the biggest part. And if he starts to get that under his legs, that's when this thing can really take off. And yeah, the force multiplier thing, having the Jays, and I know Jaylen didn't prove it last night, but the chasm between the Jaylen we saw in the Knicks series last season and what we've seen this year, massive. I mean, it's different worlds apart, obviously. But yeah, on that, Jaylen Brown, there was a post from someone last night that said the 3 MVP candidates that played tonight, and Wemby had like a 41 point every statistical thing you can have performance. And I watched the highlights and I was like, this is freaky. Shea went insane again. And the discourse, of course, everybody was mad. He got called for a push-off on a game winner, ended up still carrying them down the stretch and had an insane stat line. And then Jaylen had like the 9 for 29 night. It's kind of his own fault to a degree. Like when you start, flying your own flag for not just first team All NBA, but for MVP, you're putting yourself up against some of the most insane shit I've ever seen. Like what SGA is doing consistently, what Wemby's now starting to do. I mean, Jokic defensively has been a bit of a disaster, but as you covered, he's averaging like 30, 20, and 20 in the last week.
He leads the league in rebounds and assists per game.
Yeah. And people that get upset about like his screen assist, like it's like the handoff assists. Every player is getting the benefit of some of these. But like the whole action where he does get Jamal Murray open is still because of his gravity and stuff. Anyway, complete side tangent. But Jaylen kind of throwing his hat in the ring to be compared against those 4 guys right now. Like even Luka, even though he was shitty in the first third of the season, whatever, Luka's been
incredible. Yeah,
fucking stupid at this point. So that's heavy is the head that wears the crown, Jaylen Brown, when it comes to like this type of conversation. But first team All NBA, very much on the cards at this point. The one guy it feels like he's battling for, it's going to come down to him and Kawhi, assuming Cade misses the remainder of the games that he needs to. And I thought it was comfortably Jaylen just from a pure minutes played and games played thing, but Kawhi continues to play and be really fucking good. And like on a per minute basis, I'm not sure you can argue Jaylen over Kawhi. But he does have like an 8-game lead.
Yeah, I will say Jaylen has sort of the peripheral counting stats, which I feel like people weigh a large section of the All-NBA voting block
Sure.
weighs traditional stats more than maybe they should. Jaylen's at 7 rebounds, Kawhi 6.3, 5.2 assists for Jaylen, 3.6 for Kawhi. The big difference is like whether it's true or not, and it probably is true, but Kawhi is going to get the benefit of the doubt defensively, and he's wildly more efficient than Jaylen. Jaylen's a 57 true shooting percentage, which is like bang on league average, which is just fine with the amount of usage he's had. But Kawhi's at like 63 true shooting percentage, man. And that's a pretty sizable gulf between the two. And like, I think their points per game, I'm checking now, it is like pretty damn close. Yeah.
0.2 to 28.6.
Yeah. So that's a negligible difference. Kawhi's just doing on a lot fewer shots. He's just a lot more efficient. So it's like, is the counting stats and the on-offs are going to go Kawhi's way, just because Jaylen has like the worst on-offs of any of these guys. Like, that's not really a knock on Jaylen to me, but because we still beat the shit out of teams when he's on the court, but people are going to use that against him. There's just no way. And like, look, it's a negative of his case to make all NBA.
Sure.
Like, there's just no way around it. So I mean, I obviously would take Jaylen just because, one, I'm a homer, and two, like, it's a 7 game. Like, Jaylen's played a lot, like 200 something more minutes than him, which matters. And the counting stats, I think, matters, but I would not be shocked if it's Kawhi.
Yeah. The minutes now so Jaylen he's got what, 22.68 minutes versus Kawhi 18.90, 66 games versus 59. That gap is probably not enough to make a huge, it's maybe a bit of a delineator where Jaylen, I think, can win it. And like, if we're just going off Twitter arguments and like analytics arguments, Kawhi is probably going to win. Yeah. And I wouldn't necessarily disagree. Where Jaylen wins, though, is the narrative piece or the like intangible piece. And I think that I know there's people online that don't count any of that stuff. I think you need to include some of it. And you talk about a season where the Celtics were projected to be playing. You lose all those guys, no Tatum. Like, Jaylen's asked to carry a huge load to bring all these young guys and new teammates together. I think he deserves a ton of credit as a leader. You flip that to the other side. Well, the Clippers are in the play-in.
Yep.
So that's a big, 8 seed versus 2 seed. You've got the aspiration tree planting situation. Now, I'm not sure how much this should count, but when you start sprinkling the narrative, a lot of sprinkling going on today for me, apparently. You start spraying, the narrative juice all over your votes. Jaylen has the case easily when it comes to the narrative stuff. So I think that does matter. The Celtics being like title favorites or like Eastern Conference favorites, that's where Jaylen can bring some of it back. And when you actually think about predicting the award, I mean, Wilbon came out and said he's voting for Jaylen for MVP, which is insane.
Yeah.
Shout out Wilbon. But like, good Lord, that's like, you have to remember who's voting for these awards.
Yeah,
it's guys that have never opened Data Baller, have never opened Dunks and Threes. I don't even know how, like, does Wilbon even know how to use Basketball Reference? Like, that's, I don't know. Is he just getting like the top 10 scorers printout delivered to him on his desk?
That's what I mean with the counting stats thing. Yeah. And like, I think like some of these guys, not only do they not look at it, like if you make an argument and are like, he beats him in advanced stats, they will use that against the player who's better in advanced stats and be like, fuck your advanced stats. I'm definitely voting for the other guy. Yeah, man, like I think there's something to that. Like team success to me with the all NBA conversation matters. Like the Clippers were a clown show for the first half of the season. And like Kawhi should be the team leader. So he needs to take some responsibility for them looking so bad. He also gets the credit for them turning around and having a great second half of the season. So like it would not surprise me if Kawhi got it over Jaylen Brown, but I also don't think it would be some crime for JB to get it ahead of him. He certainly has a very legitimate case for all NBA first team. I want him to get it too, because I feel like it would be like, okay, your point has been proven, Jaylen. Now let's go win a couple more titles, right? Like, you've shown that you could be a top 5 guy in the league. Now let's kind of put that aside, and not that he hasn't been playing winning basketball, but like truly that could be our only focus going forward.
Yeah, I would love him to get his first team All NBA flowers. Like, just for him, I think he does kind of just deserve the recognition for that. Like, and doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, first team, second team, whatever. I think these guys care. I would care if it was me. Like, give me first team. He's like never let that influence the way that he's, been a team player. This is like a kind of a tangent and a lizard brain take, but like,
love it.
I was listening to Ball, and they mentioned how like after next season, Jaylen is extension eligible. Does like getting first team All NBA like mean you have no choice but to offer him supermax money off of his supermax extension, or is that happening no matter what? And how nervous are you to give him a 2-year supermax extension?
I don't think I'm that nervous. Like, I think the one nice thing about the Jays is we know they take care of themselves to like the utmost degree. So they're probably going to age pretty well. So after next season, Jaylen will be what, 31?
So it's age 29 season right now. So,
okay.
So 30.
So he'll be going into his 31 season, right?
So he turns
on the
30.
last year of his contract will be his age 31 season.
Yeah.
So we're getting what, 2? I think that's fine, man. Like, I don't know. I think you have to give it to him. I really think you have to give it to him. I don't think there's any other option. Like, you just got to ride this until it dies, like the Warriors did with Steph.
I do think that's the answer. I think the answer is I would be nervous to a degree.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. But I do think you have to. I know seems unrealistic in the way that all these negotiations happen. And I know this is way too early to have this conversation, but who cares? Whatever. Like, can Brad not sit Jaylen and Jayson down and be like,
look,
if you just take 30% of the max instead of 35%, and we can build
like
a better roster.
$65 million a year.
So much money.
Yeah.
Like, he's at the end last year of this contract is going to be $64 million. So like, can we just extend you 2 years, $130 million? Is that an insult?
Yeah. Like, come on, dude. And like and I think you have to couch it as like, look at all the players we can surround you with. This is probably our last go at it, right? You guys are both. My God, I cannot believe we're like sort of approaching the last.
No, that's like 5 years away still.
I know. But like, look at like, we can make our last run at a couple of rings here. If you guys give us this flexibility, here's all the different things I can do with it. That would be very compelling to me, but I'm also not the person sitting down saying, I don't want that extra $15 million a year. You know what I mean? But at some point it's like, that money is just fake. Like, you're set for so many lifetimes with the money he's already made. So
there was that stream when he was on like the St. Patrick's Day parade, and he was streaming being on that bus, and he was talking to that rapper. I don't know, talking to some guy, and they were talking about money. He's like, I've made 100 million 4 times. And the other guy was like, frozen.
Yeah.
And Jaylen is maybe one of the only guys where I can like understand the more money is helpful, because he tries to use it for like not just his like what self, he's trying to do a lot with it. My guess is it's the next one after that. So like, I think about all the old, like talking about Kawhi, Harden, KD, LeBron. I do think that like, you look at how they've aged. Steph, Jaylen and Jayson have proven to be outliers in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to work ethic, and even just being big and strong, I think is a big part of this as well. So you probably, I don't get that freaked out by like, okay, you're a supermax until you're 34. And then it's like, we enter discount territory because now, Kawhi is 35. Like, Harden's still fucking awesome, but he's only making 37 million. You know, KD's 37, but he's making 45 million. So
it's going to be crazy when like the discount is like 3 for 120. You know what I mean? It's like
$40 at that point. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. The cap's going to be so high in like 4 years that like a max is going to be like $90 million a year, like a super max. That's crazy. The money.
Yeah. We're going to have to give that to Ugo. So like,
I know. Shit. How are we going to afford it? Ugo and Ron Harper are going to be on super maxes. What are we going to do?
We can't afford to keep like Baylor and all these boys. Walsh is going to be like, I'm not taking another fake max. You know?
Yeah,
I'm not doing it.
I can't do it. All right, Jake, I gotta head to bed here soon. I don't know if you want to do what we were talking about before the show started. You said you might mention it about your trip.
Oh yeah, that's right. I was like, so yeah, everybody knows. I think I mentioned I'm going to Boston next week to cover the last 2 games of the season, Pelicans and Magic, for Celtics blog. Absolutely legends. But I've started to compile a list of questions to ask Joe Mazzulla in particular, because I want to try and not shit my pants once I get there. And so I want to be prepared with a good question or multiple good questions. So if you have any questions you think would be interesting to ask Mazzulla, anyone basically, send them to me and we can crowdsource the best possible questions and answers. I hope to get a video, like a video of like maybe Sam LaFrance filming me and then Mazzulla, so we can kind of get like the whole experience, as much as for my own collection, as much as anything else. But yeah, Pelicans and Magic games. They play the Knicks the night before the Pelicans game, so I feel like I'm kind of rolling the dice as far as seeing either Jaylen or Jayson at that point anyway, but still amazing to get the opportunity to do that. But yeah, starting to compile a list of questions. I have like an expectations kind of idea for a story, like, because I'm trying to get in Joe Mazzulla's mind as far as like what would give me a good answer. And I'm like, you know, is there any value to, you know, having a house money mindset throughout a season or going into the playoffs versus like the expectations? And maybe he'll give me one of those classic, like, no expectations, without them there's no point in living type of thing. But yeah,
this was not a gap year.
It's not a gap year. Yeah, the Australian angle, who knows? Might get a chance to talk to someone from that group or whatever, but thought I'd throw that out there for the chat. If you've got anything you want to be answered that has never been answered, I'm gonna try and be the conduit.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm sure I'll talk to you before then, but that's an awesome opportunity, and I know you'll kill it, man. So looking forward to seeing that. But that is going to do it for this one. We are out. We'll be back on actually with Forsberg Thursday night Eastern time, which should be really awesome. So come check that out. And Jake just dropped the Patreon episode the other day, yesterday, I think. So check that out.
After the Hornets game. I think because I'm working during the Forsberg one, but I think so. Me and Greeny will do late night tomorrow after the Heat game. So plenty of first to the floor for you this week.
Yep, the Celtics are gearing up for the playoffs. So are we. But that is going to do it for this one. We are out. Peace.